LeBron James all the way in.
And here comes Simmons the other way, 3-on-2. Simmons eludes the defender and lays it in with that.
Certainly the length altered that shot. Out of the window, steps and crunches.
Play right there. Porzingis from Jennings, throw down and a foul.
Irving, splits the defense with the dribble.
All right, what's the first topic, Bernie?
All right, guys. So the first topic we're going to discuss here is, let's just go for it. Let's talk about it. Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid.
Of course, we all know last week he had the amazing game against the Lakers, 46 points, 14 for 20, 7 rebounds, 7 blocks, I believe.
Yeah, it was the first 46, 15, 7, and 7 game ever.
Yeah.
Craziness. Let's start off by saying this, though. The Lakers played probably the most trash defense on Joel Embiid I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who's guarding him, whether it was Brook Lopez or Julius Randle. They got cooked.
They single teamed him the whole game. Even when he was like, just everything was going in, they never went to double team him once.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. I don't know how you do that against the guy who's shooting the way he was in that game.
Yeah, it just shows you that they didn't scout very well. But, he had his game. Of course, he's been having a pretty good season. Of course, his minutes are limited in some games.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he can't play back-to-backs. But he's really showing and improving as to why he was the number one pick a while back ago. Now that we figured out what's going on with him, what do you think, because you mentioned and you wanted to talk about it, what do you think Joel Embiid's ceiling is as it pertains to what's going on in the future? What do you see him doing?
I mean, let's say he manages to play 30 to 35 minutes, 70 games in a season, or 65. Let's just say 65, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he can do that and stay healthy year in, year out, he could be the best player in the NBA, easily. I mean, especially with LeBron he's probably exiting his peak pretty soon.
Right.
I mean, some people would already say he is. I don't think his stats are showing that this year. But Joel Embiid is so complete on both sides of the ball. He's an animal. His footwork, have you watched his footwork?
Yes.
It's next level. It's next level. He's a freak of nature. And considering he's only been playing the game for 7 years, people are forgetting that. This guy only played basketball for 3 years, going into college.
Right.
He's a freak of nature. Absolutely. I mean, the only person I would say he has competition from as far as being the best player in the NBA is Ben Simmons. They literally have probably the next two, superstars in the NBA on their team, barring any injury from both of them. What do you think? What's his potential? I really do think he could be, in 3 years, maybe not even that long, maybe 2 years, he could be the best player in the NBA. What do we think of Bernie?
Well, I do like Joel Embiid. I think his game is predicated on being everything that a big man should be in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
But as the best player, I think that's going to be a little bit hard to say.
Okay.
I still think that either Giannis or even Porzingis, I know we've been rooting for them on the channel. We've been talking about them a lot. But I think those guys have the all-around good game to where I think they could be better than Joel Embiid.
Interesting.
Because I'm really high right now on Porzingis. I mean, I was high on him when they drafted him, but
how could you not be?
I think he could be potentially better as a big man.
Okay.
In 2017 than Joel Embiid. Even though Joel Embiid is a beast, he's a beast. He has charisma. He has everything that you want as a superstar future player, like a LeBron-esque type of player. I also think that Porzingis has that and more.
Okay.
And I think it works better in his favor because he also has the international route, so he has more of a fan base outside of the U.S. as well.
Yeah.
So I think, even though I do like Joel Embiid, and I think he will be a all-star and that 76ers team should be amazing. And then a couple of years, after the Celtics might have a little run, or the Bucks might have a little bit of a run, or even the Knicks, if they get good players in New York, they could have a little bit of a run. But I think the 76ers team is maybe 5 or 6 years away from becoming a perennial threat in the East.
We're not agreeing on this. I think they're already there. Honestly,
Already
I really
there.
do think they're already a threat to some of these teams. I think they do. They maybe need like another piece here and there, but I think as soon as these guys can get off the leash and they can let them go, this team is really, really good. Like they got a lot of role players on the team that can do things that their main two stars can't. Ben Simmons isn't taking threes. He doesn't want to. And I actually appreciate the fact that he doesn't. He knows himself well enough not to just jack up a couple a game.
Right.
So he doesn't waste his time trying to shoot those, but he literally does everything on the court except shoot, really. Mm-hmm. Joel Embiid can score from anywhere. They can all defend. They have J.J. Redick. They have Covington. Their team is good, dude. I think they can give a lot of these good teams a run for their money. Plus, they all seem like they really want it. I think they've trusted the process. Joel Embiid, as far as the medical stuff is concerned, maybe not so much, but they're all getting there, and the potential is really showing up so far, in my opinion. I think maybe not this year. I do think they're making the playoffs this year. I think they're the 8th seed in the East. Mm-hmm. Next year, I think you could see them at 5 or 6, and it's just going to keep going up. Okay. If they can keep these guys.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the issue here. And that's probably what leads me to believe that this team, although they have all the pieces in place, it all depends on if the owner wants to do a Golden State Warriors or a Miami Heat, where they want to go over the luxury tax and pay for these guys when their contracts run out, especially Joel Embiid, because I think he's been in the league for, 2 or 3 years now?
I think 3, yeah.
3. So I think his contract is probably coming up in a year or 2, I believe, until, they can re-sign him as a restricted free agent. Mm-hmm. You have to spend a little bit more money than you normally would on these guys because it's kind of like the Warriors effect and the fact that, you drafted all these guys, they all grew up together. And it all depends on the owner if he wants to go over the luxury tax to pay for all these guys to stay on the team.
Yeah.
And I don't know the owner well enough to understand that, but I'm going to go on a limb and say that he will not do that.
Okay.
I think the thing with all this is that he's going to pay 2 of those guys, of all those guys. I feel like you're not going to keep a guy like Dario Saric on the team for very long, and he's a good role player. He's a great role, not in the sense of he's a backup, but as a role player on the team.
Yeah, I like him.
He stretches the floor, and I like that game about him. You're obviously paying Ben Simmons. You're obviously paying Joel Embiid. Mm-hmm. But the other guys that also make up the team, I don't think they're paying them. I just think there's too many pieces that we need here, and I just don't understand if the 76ers are, you trust the process, but is your owner going to trust the process? And that's where I get skeptical of.
Yeah. And
I think the only owner that will really do it are guys like Mickey Erickson or guys in kind of like that Silicon Valley big market team. I think those guys. I'm not saying that Philadelphia is not a big market, but it's definitely, you have Silicon Valley, which is known for a lot of rich people, rich tech. So, of course, you're bringing in more money so you can pump into the team.
Yeah, for sure. I would tend to agree with you. I think they're going to do like a junior style of the Golden State Warriors, right? I think it's really hard. Any team is hard pressed to do what they've done as far as their cap is concerned, their cap space, and keeping all those stars on one team is crazy to me. And I don't know if we'll ever see another team like that, really. Yeah. So when it comes down to it, you're probably not keeping all these guys. But then again, like as far as superstars are concerned, they have 2, really. They have Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. Those are the 2 dudes. Markelle Fultz, maybe. Still, that's up for debate.
Yeah, still up for debate with him, but
they're probably getting rid of Okafor very soon. Hopefully they get rid of him before the deadline. They might just end up keeping him till the end of the year, though. We'll see. I hope for his sake he gets to go, though. But then some of these other dudes, like, they did just give a real big boost on Covington's contract.
Right.
What's he get? $16 million now, which is crazy. What was it like before? I think it was like $3 or $4 million.
Yeah,
before.
3 for like a rookie contract, basically, because he was part of that like terrible trust the process teams with the old GM, I believe. So he went through it all, and I'm sure they're rewarding him for sticking through that garbage of a mess. Because he's a good role player. I think he could definitely help the 76ers win in the future if they decide to keep all these guys. But my gut feeling is telling me that they won't stay together. I don't know. I feel like Joel Embiid's a loyal guy, so he will stay. Mm-hmm. But I'm just not sure about Ben Simmons. I feel like Ben Simmons would go somewhere.
God, Knicks. Go to the Knicks, Doug. That'd be awesome. God, him and Porzingis together? Woo!
But yeah, going back to the original question, will the 76ers, will they be in contention or will they compete based on Joel Embiid's ceiling? I don't think so. I think it's too early for us to kind of get hyped over them, especially, like you said, we don't know about Joel Embiid's knee problems, which have been, knee and foot. They've been a real big issue for him. It's a real big issue for big men, especially over 7 feet. They always have those kind of injuries. Look at Shaq. Look at Kareem. He also had those injuries.
Yeah.
So we're just going to have to see in the future if they are able to lighten the load on him. I understand he's young, and he's like, you know what? I want to take over. This is my team. I want to play.
Yeah.
But you got to remember that you want to win the war, not the battle. Mm-hmm. And that's what these NBA games are. They're battles. But to win the championship, you got to go through war.
Yeah.
And if they can stay healthy, who knows? Maybe they will. But my gut feeling is telling me no. Even though I'm a huge fan of Joel Embiid, and we added him to our Four Horsemen as the next wave.
Yeah.
But I still think, even that, I don't think Joel Embiid will be the main dude.
Okay. And this is breaking news. He's actually day-to-day right now for some knee soreness.
Yeah, which I think is just a precautionary thing to make sure that he's not overplaying.
Yeah.
I think they always make up some stuff where it's like...
I agree, but, there is also a chance it is real. Maybe his knee is sore, which that ain't good. That ain't good. Yeah. Tell us what you guys think about Embiid. I know he's definitely hot topic right now, but we're high on him. Maybe me a little bit more so than Bernie, but I think if this guy can stay healthy, he's putting up some numbers that, obviously the Lakers game, nobody's ever seen that before. Mm-hmm. But just the things he's able to do night in and night out, insanely impressive.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say about Joel Embiid, he's probably the first big man in a long time that I've seen with great footwork. Mm-hmm. Boogie Cousins is more of a bully. He'll just push people down. Karl-Anthony Towns maybe a little bit, but not as much as Joel Embiid. Like from what I'm seeing in the games that I'm watching,
yeah,
I think Joel Embiid has better footwork than Karl-Anthony Towns.
He's